right here where people are farming at now, and it's flat, and they found that to be good farmland and thought they'd use it. Wonder when people were farming in the same damn spot before. I see little dots and dashes in this field. Is there a circle out there? Is there something out there? There's got to be something out there. Something here. There's something around here somewhere. And this looks like an ancient riverbed running through right here that used to feed the city, and it went away because that went away because the nothing came. When the archaeologists discovered the 5,000-year-old site of Mohenjo-Daro in Pakistan, what they found was unprecedented in the region. The city demonstrated an exceptional level of city planning and amenities. The houses were furnished with brick-built bathrooms, and many had toilets. Wastewater from these was led into a well-built brick sewers that ran along the center of the streets, covered with bricks or stone slabs. Cisterns and wells finely constructed of wedge-shaped bricks held public supplies of drinking water. Back to this day, the city would have been home to around 40,000 inhabitants. And we cut to part 2, didn't we? Yeah. Sorry, guys. So, man, it cut off something cool I was saying here about how houses are built on these grids and things, and these cool cities leading up, and all these ramps leading in mountains and everything. But if there's this, fields out there now, what's to say there weren't fields and vineyards before? This used to be an old river there. It's not a river now, and perhaps this place went someplace else where there's a river whenever this started drying up and the nothing started coming. But people in modern technology are able to turn around and, even in the nothing, make things grow. All it takes is planning, and you got to get the water there, resources. Those people, it looks like if they would have had the same situation, could have had the same situation. But you can't move a river as easy as you can get up and go to there if yours dries up. Who knows? You go travel the river up north and see what's happening, but if it's just not raining and just not freezing in the mountains, it's just not causing a big enough flow. Right? 40,000 inhabitants. In this same era, but on another continent, another great city was being constructed, Caral, like Caral Tepe. Located in the Supe Valley in Peru, Caral is a 5,000-year-old city that consisted of huge monuments, including pyramids, plazas, amphitheaters, temples, and residential areas. They had extensive agriculture, ate a varied diet of food, developed the use of textiles, used a complex system for calculating and recording, built a water supply, and developed an intricate irrigation system. Sounds pretty hot coming out of nowhere. Popcorn. Architects are currently looking into Caral for inspiration in city planning. Japanese architects intend to incorporate building designs that they implemented to protect their people from earthquakes. The people of Caral suspended their houses in baskets filled with stones that dissipated earth movement and prevented collapse, so it helped take the shake. That's wicked. They could have built their houses out of that colossal stone and they didn't have to worry about it. They found another outlet. Astronomy, as we get on to number 9 here. Thought we might be able to get this in one, but I won't shut up. So we look at phases of the moon, where the sun ends up coming up during certain phases of the year, and this designates certain signs and seasons from its largest apex to its largest. But in this area, you only get it from these mountain peaks. Things are marked off of that. Stones are in line with that. Stuff like that. Archeoastronomy. From the star constellations painted on ancient Greek ceramics to Native American rock art depicting solstices, star charts, and ancient Japanese tombs, Australian Aborigine Dreamtime stories reflecting known astronomical events, and a 10,000-year-old megalithic calendar in Scotland, there is no doubt that ancient civilizations around the world possessed an extraordinary understanding of the cosmos and its movements. I want to do a video about that 10,000-year-old megalithic calendar in Scotland. But just how were they able to so precisely and accurately record cosmological events without the technology we possess today still eludes scientists in many cases. What is certain is that recent discoveries have revealed just how advanced ancient cultures were when it came to astronomical knowledge, and that they were far more from the primitive people that were once thought to be, for certain things are lined up to a T, to a point that we have a hard time lining up buildings with that same precise as something as big as the pyramids. And there's sacred geometry all in all of this too, but they went through the care of making sure, like the Sumerians talk about the Mies and the tablets, and you've got to have this knowledge that tells you how to lay it all out, or you're just a screwed people and not this advanced. And when somebody took them away, it screwed them up badly. Number 10, weapons. And here we're showing the death ray of Archimedes here, where he supposedly took a shield type device and polished it up, much like Perseus' shield was mirrored, and used it to focus the sun on his ship, and he could catch ships on fire. And Mythbusters tried this and everything, and had some pretty mediocre success with it, but it came across as bigger than day and daylight. But you can imagine if you just start flashing it across the people on the deck, these guys are going to go crazy. And if somebody does have a cannon or something they're trying to do, and are just arrows, they're going to light a fire, and they've got it, and you start burning him and he drops it, or something happens and he catches fire accidentally, it might garner the idea. Something could happen just once, and then they would say that it happened many times. He also had a giant arm he'd stick out there and grab the ships and stick them under the water and let them go, and they just sink. Yeah, so if there's that hard of leverage going on, that's almost like, have you ever rode the Disney ride, the Avalanche, and then it's up in the Himalayas, and they've got the giant King Kong, and his arm comes down raw? Well, it'd be like, you've got control of that arm, you're going to grab a ship and take it. It almost comes to that point. There's no doubt that modern day weapons are far more superior to the ancient counterparts in their ability to unleash mass death and destruction. There exist a number of powerful ancient weapons that still elude scientists as to their construction and capabilities. Greek mathematician, engineer, inventor, and astronomer Archimedes, who I'm going to do a separate thing about, but here's a spoiler, is reported to have created a heat ray weapon, sometimes called the death ray, to defend against ships attacking Syracuse, an historic city in Sicily. According to the 2nd century AD author Lucian, and centuries later Anthemius of Tralles, the weapon was made of large reflectors, possibly made from polished bronze or copper, which were used to focus sunlight onto approaching ships, causing them to actually catch fire. Although its existence has been hotly debated among historians, a number of tests have accurately proven that such a weapon is feasible, plausible, possible. In 1973, the Greek scientist Ioannis Sakis set up 70 mirrors with a copper coating, which were pointed at a plywood model of a Roman warship at a distance of 50 meters. When the mirrors were focused accurately, the ship burst into flames within seconds. Yeah, he was sitting there focusing the little shine of each one at a time to make sure he was getting in focused, and it all of a sudden became like a magnifying glass and just started scorching that crap. So that's amazing. But this Archimedes is amazing. He's accredited with all kinds of things. But I think the knowledge of Alexandria and the knowledge of his people, for his name was Archa, meaning kind of old, antique, or elder, and Medes, and who the Medes used to be back in the day. For Herodotus himself says that they were called Aryans, and so were a lot of other people around this whole area, until Medea went to them from Athens, and they changed their name, much as Perseus had done in Persia, and so on. And a lot of people have written that into Greek tales and so on. But yeah, weapons too. Write down in the comments what y'all think about these advancements, and can you think of more things that they have going on other than the stone cutting techniques that sometimes are shown in the ancient Egyptians, and just being able to make those jars the way that they did, the crystal blue eyes. I mean, that still blows everybody away. They're taking actual crystal and polishing it down to that point that it looks like an eyeball, sticking in those statues that all have those crystal blue eyes on them. I mean, earliest dynasties too. And so that and those bowls seem to be something they were doing pre-dynastic into the start, and then due to, I don't know, some kind of fuckery, they lost that technology. Anyhow, guys, we're stepping on. Like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy. Wish I could have gotten this in one. I know y'all hate it if it goes to two, probably. Peace.